I've received more threats on my life in the last 2 weeks than I have in probably the last year or so, as I've been putting out more and more content, essentially speaking on the things that I've been holding close to my chest. I've been afraid to articulate, knowing that you have some quite unhinged individuals out there who have trouble digesting the fact that maybe, just maybe, everything isn't the white man's fault. Now, when I say those messages, I'm called a sellout, Uncle Tom. Sometimes my life is threatened. But then when I bring it to, hey, maybe, just maybe, it's also not the Jews' fault that you are where you are in your life, all of a sudden they want to find me. They want to take me out. They wish that I would die with the rest of my Zionist collective, whatever the hell, right? It's real interesting. Again, it's the very same message to me. It's, okay, you have personal autonomy. You take personal responsibility of your life in order to get to the place that you want. So for black folks who have been completely brainwashed by this, racialized ideology, the white man is not to blame for why you are where you are in your life. And a few actually get that. They're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Stop blaming the white man and just move forward. But when it comes to, the Jewish man is not responsible for, how dare you? You Mossad, you're paid for, you're bought, you're Zionist. They just can't fathom it. And it's crazy because I kind of understand where they're coming from. I mean, when I was like 14, 15 and I first started smoking the loud pack, I was watching, it was first the Zeitgeist. It was like the first documentary that was giving me this insight, right? This hidden information about, the secret societies, the Illuminati, and of course, the 10 families that run the entire world. It's the Jews, the Zionists, the Jews, right? That's when I first started getting into that. And you could not convince me out of that. And if you ask me for proof, well, I mean, like, do you need further proof than this right here?
Covering up Star of Rim Film. No, it's the Seal of Solomon. And it's even worse than all the idiots out there say it is.
Yeah.
They just never get it right. It's the seal of Satan that seals the demons in. Now, it's a similar to it. Tex Mara's really smart.
It's the seal of Satan that seals the demons in. Do you not hear this? The ancient secret texts, right? They're controlling the world while also trying to control the world. It's all the Jews, everything, all the problems in your life. The reason why you're broke as hell. The reason why you're likely obese, you're fat. The reason why you can't get it together. The reason why you got a divorce. It's the Jews. They're lawyers and it's Jews. It's them. There's nothing else that could. Look, in the same way I could tell black folks, hey, the reason why Asian students and white students are doing far better academically, it's because of white supremacy. It's not because they have different morals. It's not because they have different values. It's not because their culture promotes something that is more, positively inclined. Instead of pushing their kids to be rappers and ball players, they're pushing their kids to be mathematicians, doctors, engineers, scientists. It's not that. That surely couldn't be it. It's because white supremacy. But this is the exact same argument here. Like, I know this is going to be one of the most controversial videos I ever put out. And I put out controversy after controversy because I'm just telling the damn truth. This is going to piss a lot of people off, even who do follow me on a regular basis. And I'm going to tell you this. If you are somebody at this point of following me this long throughout our journey, and you hold these beliefs, you will want to unfollow me right now. I'm telling y'all straight up, I'm not even being funny with you. Because that is a sign of very, very low intelligence and honestly a dangerous mentality. I look to be a repellent of individuals who think in that way. The Jews are controlling my life. The whites are controlling my life. You are controlling the foundational aspects of your reality. Now, we could look to the government systems. We could look to, external factors all day long. But if you use that as a scapegoat for your own existence, then what better are you, or how much better are you than the black dude who's blaming the white man? What's the difference? What's the difference? It's all trying to come up out of my chest. That was probably the jinn that was being trapped in my chest right now. So I wanted to bring this video up to show y'all just how possessed an individual can become. And I can point to individuals like the Candace Qatari Owens and, the Tucker Carlsons, these people that at one point maybe many of us looked to and admired, and, they were filled with what seemed to be wisdom. But then you see just how deep it gets when they start to get on this one subject. They are completely consumed by it. They are radicalized by it. Candace is putting out messages talking about, I'll pay $10,000 to whoever gives me information on who's trying to slander me, putting out these messages that I'm paid off by Qatari. Homegirl, I do this for free. It's for free. They're doing it for free because you're crashing out. You're looking crazy. But anyway, let me go ahead and do my Mossad job because I'm paid off by Bibi Netanyahu. Actually, he was at my house yesterday. We were having brunch, and he said to me, I really like the way that you continue to stand up for the small little percentage of people, the 0.7% of, the world that is controlling everything. The poor and destitute Jew, the one who looks like the Arab, right? The one who's never shown on televisions or anything. Yeah, I'm glad that him who controls the world, right? A lot of the Jewish folks are out there right now. It's crazy. Yeah. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought you control the whole entire banking system when you're broke yourself? Who would have thunk it?
You believe that the Jews run the American government.
That's not a secret, Charlie.
Well, no, I find it hilarious that
all of Trump's cabinet is Jewish. Have an AIPAC advisor. Not a single person.
This is good. There are people watching this right now. People who followed me for a long time who are going to be accusing me of being bought and all that sort of nonsense. And again, if that's your stance, please leave. Get out of here. I do not want that level of brain deadry because the conversations we're about to start getting into as we move forward, as we get into more geopolitics and things of that nature, this ain't going to be the domain for you. If you're just here for the giggles, then I suggest just going to a comedy page. But this dude said every person in Trump's cabinet is Jewish. That's a direct statement. They can say these things without any substantiation. Remember, I told you when I was 15 years old, you asked me, how do you know this? Well, look here. And I bring up maybe I bring up some sort of forum, or I could bring up some sort of documentaries that I was informing myself with online while going down these rabbit holes by myself in my room, getting zooted. Every single one of his members of his cabinet are Jews.
In Congress can make a decision with asking their Israeli Jewish AIPAC advisor. Israel did 9/11, Charlie.
Oh, they did. Wow.
Why are we in the middle? I served. Why were we in the Middle East?
I can actually tell he served. And this, shout out to all of my vets out there. Shout out to everybody who thought they were either fighting for freedom or really did, right? Depending on maybe where you were stationed, etc. That PTSD is real. The effects on the physiology of your brain are very, very real, and it's something that needs to be talked about more often. I'm just gonna leave that there.
Well, I mean, you can,
why were we in the Middle East?
You can reject involvement in the Middle East without also believing Israel did 9/11. So if Israel did 9/11, help me understand this. Who were the hijackers of the planes?
They weren't hijackers.
Oh,
CIA and Israel worked together.
No. Explain to me what happened on the aircraft.
Okay, first off, what we have to understand, there's only one plane that actually crashed.
No,
okay?
there were three.
No, the building's imploded.
Okay,
if a plane's going to hit a building, why would the building fall down?
Time out. Flight 93, did it exist?
Flight 93 existed, yes.
Okay, so who tried to hijack that plane?
They sacrificed those people to make it look like Bush was targeted because they wanted to cover up Bush's involvement. He just happened to be in Texas reading a book to elementary kids, and they're reading a sign on a whiteboard
let me say
that
this.
talks about towers falling, Charlie.
Anti-Semitism.
We have been lied to since the beginning of this country. Jews, Freemasons, all of it's a satanic agenda. Israel is the synagogue of Satan. They're killing innocent people in Palestine over the guise of sovereignty. New World Order is coming, Charlie.
Guys, anti-Semitism is...
And again, I'm not going to sit here and say that there aren't things that I genuinely have believed in or do believe in that aren't rooted in fear, that aren't rooted in... Look, let me put it here. I am no geopolitical expert, and I don't claim to be. Like a lot of these quote unquote podcasters, etc., all of a sudden they just know everything. That's why I don't touch on every single subject. I want to know as much as I possibly can until I feel comfortable enough to articulate myself from an educated stance, right? As well as still having obviously my own belief systems. But here's the thing. Human nature is that of always looking to make things make sense. We are like meaning machines. If you look into psychology, we're always looking to close the loop on something. So if something doesn't make sense, we will draw a conclusion. It happens in our everyday lives. It happens at a small scale and at a vast global scale. So if something happens, it is unexplainable. We try to give it meaning and significance. And, is that meaning real or not? That's for you to determine. So the same thing is done when it comes to the world of conspiracy. Some people believe every conspiracy, and then some believe maybe none. Most of us believe a few here and there. But some, especially those who are susceptible to more mental illnesses and things of that nature, will be so far gone. Like when I was in depressive spouts, when I was, again, it was probably marijuana-induced psychosis. Let's be real. I was more susceptible to those ideas with no true basis of that information. Like what he's saying right now, again, most of us believe that it was an inside job. Was it? There's a possibility it was. But the vehementness, you see the attitude he's having and then tying everything else, and then the cabal, and here's a new world order. All of these ideas are not new ideas. They're old conspiracies that have been regurgitated and essentially repackaged for a new generation. And it's going to be a hard thing to hear for anybody on either side of the aisle, but this is the reality. As human beings, we also look for scapegoats as to why our lives are the way that they are. And this is always going to be my baseline solution. This is going to be my baseline conversation when it's all said and done. Beyond everything else on the surface is we need to get back to a place where we take personal accountability for our own life experiences. You may have experienced traumas as a child, and I'm sorry about those experiences. And that you had adults around you who weren't mature enough to raise a child in the way they need to be raised. But you are now responsible as an adult for dealing with those things, right? If you were to blame everybody around you for the broken relationships, the brokenness in your bank account, the lack of financial or economic opportunity, career advancement, the next thing you're going to do is to blame somebody. They're the reason. It was my government that did it. And I can point to you real life examples because I was born overseas. I was born in Zimbabwe, in a third world country. And I got to see my father build from nothing to something, to make something of himself in a country that was a totalitarian regime. That's why we had to move to America. And we were blessed enough to have the opportunity afforded to us through the green card process to become citizens. My father, in spite of his environment, looked for a way to make it happen. And so did others around him. But guess what? More did not. More people had more excuses than they did have proactive steps they were willing to take. And, I wanted to bring this video up in another video per se, but I feel like there is no better time to bring it up than maybe now. And it's a video of Thomas Sowell speaking on this. There's many people who love Thomas Sowell when he talks about everything else until it comes to this subject because it's so deeply rooted. The Jews have been used as a scapegoat for a very long time in human history. A very long time in human history. I mean, everybody at some extent and level has been kind of scapegoated. But when you look in a multitude of the conspiracies, it all ties back to the same thing. And at the core of it, the one who latches onto it like that young man right there, it's because he feels powerless. Why would somebody dig themselves deeper and deeper? Why does it actually matter? Like for me, I ask myself the question, why do you talk about the things you talk about? Why do you do what you do? And for me, I believe at the core of it is because I know somebody out there can be positively affected by my message. They can take something away from it Even if I'm talking about the 304 culture, right? Streetwalker culture. A young woman sees my video, grown woman sees my video, and decides not to fall into that. That to me is a progressive step. But on the other side, it could be doom and gloom. We're all cooked. We're done. There's no way out of this. It's finished. There's nothing you can do. It's over. That's the message that conspiracy, I wish there was another word for it, because oftentimes that word has been bastardized, and it's not a bad thing. Like a conspiracy theory in itself is not a bad thing. But those who are so far gone and given to these ideas without any sort of resolve and solution, or become dangerous as far as you now start to attack those people, like we see with many of the Muslim regimes who look to attack the Jewish community and the Christian community. They literally look to wipe them out to this day. Now, not a makeshift, make-believe, oh, that's a genocide, even though our population continues to grow like Palestine. Population has grown significantly in the country that supposedly is trying to wipe their ethnicity out, right? But we don't want to look at that. We don't want to look at the facts. We want to look at the thing that's going to serve that emotional aspect. It's going to serve the aspect of us that believes that I am not in control. I can't make more of my life. I feel that I need something out there to blame. Oh, the banking system. Well, the reason I'm broke is because, you see, the system is built against us and the Jews are doing it. Instead of saying, maybe I should learn how money works. Maybe I should learn how to not only make money, how to not only keep and sustain money, but how to maybe grow money. Maybe I can start educating myself. But instead, time and energy and emotional capacity is wasted upon things like this. And it's really heartbreaking. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull this last video up. Again, I was not expecting to do so, but I'm just going to do so impromptu. So let's go ahead.
Where does the hatred for the Jews come from in history?
Number of places, but they are people who have succeeded an awful lot in the midst of other people who have not. Years ago, one official of one of the Jewish organizations in New York asked me, what can Jews themselves do in order to minimize the hostility they face? I gave him a one-word answer: fail. Because as long as you succeed, you're going to be hated.
So the source is success.
It's not only
hatred.
the success, it's the success starting in poverty, as the Jews did in the United States and in many other countries. And so you not only see them succeed, you see them rise up from the bottom, past other people, and the people they've passed don't like it. But there's also the fact that the role they play economically has never been understood. They're middlemen or they're money lenders, and the argument is they really aren't producing anything. You can't see anything tangible that they don't stand at a production line turning out widgets.
Where does the hatred?
But when it's all said and done, those who want to believe what they want to believe will do exactly that, so long as it serves their own insecurities. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 3-6-5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.